Hey guys, welcome to the Popular Loners Club. Okay, before I begin, I do curse. So if you don't like cursing, this might not be the channel for you. I also am channeled messages in my current state. Okay? So if you don't like righteousness, this might not be the channel for you either. Most people don't like righteousness because it holds you accountable for things that you need to be accountable for. And I'm not righteous 100% of the time. I do break the rules, you know, just like everyone else, I guess, you know, but with more highlighted righteousness. All right. So if you're not about trying to find self-awareness and self-healing and self-reflection, this may not be the channel for you either. I am aware. So any negative energies that are being sent my way, to you, to your loved ones, to this channel, I ask that it's returned to sender 100 times fold. Not every message will be your message. This is energy. Energy is behavior. Energy determines the behavior. And with that being said, let's get to it. I just channeled the message in regards to gossiping. We all guilty of gossiping. We all guilty of talking behind someone's back, telling someone else how we feel about another person because we too fucking scared to face conflict with whomever we have conflict with. You may not want to mess up the connection. You may know how someone may react to it. You may know that they may not be someone who can self-reflect, that may take it very personal and may ruin the relationship, so you may not do it. You may tell somebody else. You may get someone else involved in your stuff with someone else because you need to let it out, or you feel like you need to let it out, instead of just keeping it within, just with you and God and that person, you know? You either going to face it head on, or you're just going to surrender it and leave it to God. Most of us don't do that. Okay? And if you want to be a liar, you might just want to tune off now. There's a lot of times where you can just be conversating with your friends, your family, whatever, and just stuff just comes up, conflict. Someone else can just bring it up, and you find yourself in the midst of it because you can remember, oh yeah, when this person did this to me too, and now, you know, now you're in a conversation of gossip where neither one of you want to take the issue to the person who you have a problem with. This also happens to you. But we're not talking about what other people do on this channel. We're talking about what you do on this channel, so that way we can help each other with compassion and love to try to get through this shit. Because it's a lot of long drilled, conditioned behaviors that we once thought were acceptable. But everybody gets mad at it. Oh, this person's talking about you, and they was talking behind your back, and they was doing all of this, and they was doing all of that, but they be guilty of the same fucking crimes. It's like, stop throwing rocks and hiding your hands. You're either going to confront the person and leave it in God's hands, or you're just going to surrender it and just keep it to yourself and God. Not bring another person into your bullshit and your drama. Now, even if you aren't afraid to say how another person could have offended you, or something that you didn't like, or whatever that the person did towards you, or whatever, even if you tell them, it still doesn't give you the right to go and gossip about it with anybody else. Nobody else had anything to do with the conflict between you and that person. But y'all don't hear me though. We're going to go ahead and tap into the message. It's something about gossip. Raise your hands if you gossip and you made excuses for the behavior. All right? It's like you're either going to respect it or you're not. Okay? All right, let's see. We have the Knight of Pentacles coming out in the reverse. And we have the Ten of Swords coming out in the reverse. Good for you. It takes a lot of self-discipline not to gossip, okay? And when you realize that it can be done with self-discipline, you start to recover, okay? You start to resist those conversations that once pulled you in for connection, but toxic connections. You stop looking for people to see you as an equal, as a part of the crew. You stop keeping yourself small and stuck just to fit in. Is you finding this discipline to recover by not doing the behavior that also makes you sad to others. I hope I said that right. Can't be mad at something you do. And just because you do it in private with somebody else who's gossiping in private, you're still guilty of the crime. It's a case of stop fucking throwing stones and hiding your hands. And then want to say, I'm anointed by God. I'm highly favored. By fucking who? If you can't even admit to the bullshit that you contribute to. Like, who are you fooling? Oh, Lord. We have a Two of Cups. You may receive healthy connection. You can find somebody that is on the same path as you, okay? Or you've been using these toxic behaviors to connect with other toxic people and then call it love, okay? But because it's coming out in the upright, I feel like when you heal and you start to have certain discipline and bad behavior, you will bring in mutual attraction, mutual partnership. Okay? Now, If you start something toxic, it's going to be very hard to break the cycle. So you find yourself just removing yourself from the entire connection, because now it becomes this, in my last reading, trauma bond between two people who connected through some bullshit. Okay? Because it's two people. I'm not taking the ones that drop. I'm taking this. It's still two. Oh, y'all see that? The achy breaky hearts. The Three of Pentacles. This can easily be some workplace drama. Doesn't necessarily have to be. It's like, in order for you to connect in certain groups here, all right, you have to remove some sort of toxicity, so that way you can accept collaboration in a healthy way. And you first have to become healthy in certain areas. Remove yourself from certain conversations, and not give a fuck about what other people might think. I was distracted, y'all. Sorry. We have the Four of Pentacles. You just have to watch what you say. It's all about controlling yourself. You can have healthy connections and partnerships, but if anything is built off of gossip, rumors, people having ill feelings against other people, telling other people and smiling in other people's back, this is like some bullshit. You have to have some sort of self-control over yourself here. All right. And it may get you in a place where you feel like it's scarce, like you really don't fit in nowhere. It's always going to be a population where there's a bunch of gossip going on. And if you're in the process of healing, okay, your gossiping ways, your behavior, then yeah, it's kind of going to be where you're going to be looked down upon. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're not willing to create connections over things that hurt. Isn't it hurtful when you find out somebody you really liked or cared for was talking behind your back? And all they had to do was come to you and, let you know how they felt, and it could have been a reconciliation. But after you find out, because somebody have to come back and be loyal to you, it's like, well, can you really be trusted if you stood there? Because how do you know so much about the conversation if you just didn't walk away? You sat there. You wanted to hear what people had to say about me. What did you say about me? Did you stand there awkwardly and then run back and tell me like you being some sort of loyal servant? You got to watch people like that too. Or was you in that energy? Are you that loyal servant where you stay in places where they may not like a friend or a family member or a coworker or something like that, and you just sitting there because everybody likes you, and then you run back and be the loyal servant, but you didn't say nothing in the conversation to defend anybody? You stood there quietly. So because you stood there quietly, you feel like you didn't have any contributions to the conversation. See the lies that we tell ourselves. The excuses that we make for the poor behavior and decisions that we make when it comes to gossip. Where are you finding yourself? Where are you healing? Because all of those scenarios are woundedness. The correct way to do that was to, once that conversation started turning left, was to remove yourself from it. Don't even be a part of it. Because it's not for you to tell. It's not for you to listen. You have no parts in the conversation. But the moment you insert yourself in, you are as guilty as sin. You can't come back to me telling me something somebody said, because I'm going to still question the fuck why you was there, why you stayed, why did you hear the conversation in full as you did. But if I'm really honest with myself, I knew there was times where I did the same thing. And I would feel like I was doing the right thing by not intervening in the conversation, but just standing there and listening, because I didn't want anybody to look at me awkwardly. You know what I'm saying? But that's when I wasn't living for me. You know, living in fear-based energy. You get yourself wrapped up in things that will turn around and bite you in the ass. Well, we have the Nine of Pentacles coming out in the upright. I'm sorry, baby. Oh, hold on, y'all. Titty muscle done tightened up. All right. So we got the Nine of Pentacles coming up in the upright. And this is because you've been practicing self-discipline, or this is the road that you're going to be on, okay? You're finally going to be able to bask in your fruits of labor. You're finally going to be rewarded, okay? If you were always worried about what people thought of you, now they're going to be thinking of you in the right way, or even the wrong way. Who gives a fuck? Like I said, some people can think that you're so fucking righteous, you know, that you're a know-it-all, that you're too good for the crew, and that's fine. Then you're going to have other people that's going to respect your gangster and might even follow what you're doing because they can respect it. But not everybody is going to respect the good thing. So just because you're doing it and you might not be getting the recognition that you feel that you deserve, not everybody is going to respect the right thing. Especially if they're the ones that are still doing the wrong thing, where they still lack self-discipline in that particular area. Because we can lack self-discipline in one area and have a lot of self-discipline in another. But you see, this is levels to this shit. There's levels to this shit. And I feel like if you write on a piece of paper and you write your good qualities, you write your bad qualities, and you're really honest with yourself, you can really start working on your bad qualities. See, I'm a visual learner. Okay, for somebody else, you could be a visual learner too. You may have to put shit down on a piece of paper. You might have to write out your thoughts. You may have to start a journal. Okay, and then you just have to go back and rethink it and look and see where you could have came off as a bitch, or, you know, in some sort of victim mentality or whatever, and just reproach that, revisit it in your behavior. All right, I do a lot of preaching, y'all. But I couldn't be a preacher because I curse too much. I'm telling you, it's something that you have to do independently by yourself in silence, where you're soul searching, you're finding some sort of it may be hurtful at first, but then it turns into some sort of pleasure, because it's like, oh shoot. It's like, you know how you you take a test and you get your test score back and you thought you did good and you get a 70. And then your teacher gives you the opportunity to make it up, and you actually really go back and you really study it and you really take your time, and then you get the paper back next time, and you might have like a 95 or even 100 because you took your time this time. This is what this Ten of Swords in reverse is. Okay? You took your time to recover. You was easier on yourself. You was easy on other people because you've been there. You've been there. So a lot of people like to judge other people, especially where they judge themselves at. Okay? So when you're receiving a lot of judgment and hate, it's because people see how they are through you. Is a mirror effect. So when you're healing, right, and you're not partaking in the gossip and the bullshit, right, people gonna want to gravitate more to you because it's like, okay, they want to be the reflection of what you are reflecting back at them. You feel me? So it's entirely up to you how you want to go about this. This is something that's independent. 99. It's something that's very independent. Okay? And you just have to know thyself. Just seeking some sort of inner wisdom. Also seeking the truth. The Hangman, a new perspective on how you're going to come into certain partnerships with people. Okay? Don't be so hard on yourself. And don't give up. Like, you don't have to give up on love, you know? I just feel like, again, people like to be around other people that mirror healthy qualities about them, self-discipline, and they stand on it. People like to be on that because it's like, ooh, my partner is a reflection of me. So if they're self-disciplined, then I gotta be disciplined. I gotta do what I say I'm gonna do. I have to be a man or a woman of my word. I have to stand on business. That's what they're going to reflect. It's very hard. It's very hard to go from toxic to healthy. It's very hard, especially when you're dealing with outside people, because people tend to get stuck on what they remember you as to what you are trying to work on. And people tend to put all the responsibility on you. And people tend to mask who they truly are if you are embodying something that they want to be. They may not really do the work. They just might feel real good being around you. So it's like you just have to build some sort of healthy foundation within yourself to call in some sort of healthy relationship from another, if that's what you're seeking. But it's something about you letting go, surrendering, pausing, taking your time when it comes to certain connections, gaining some sort of deep insight, sacrificing your old self for a new self, okay? Change, like embracing change. It might be hard as fuck. You might lose pretty much everybody you know, okay? Because everybody you know probably was in that energy. Gossip about this person, talk about this person, all these kind of things. And then everybody is partying and kumbayaing and like nothing happened, because you have things, birds of a feather flock together. Thank you. I said I'm a preacher, y'all. So I know that my readings can be a bit preachy. All right. We have the Eight of Pentacles coming out. The Eight of Cups coming out in the reverse, and then we had the 10 of Pentacles coming out in reverse. And I'm being called to talk about the Ten of Pentacles and keeping out the Ten of Cups in reverse. Okay. You can try one more time. Okay. When it comes about building like these teamwork, these collaborations with other people, you can always try. It doesn't mean that it's going to work, right? But before you fully give up and not have full capacity, you can try. If you've already tried and it doesn't work, then you remove yourself, right? But this is also in regards to like fear of loss, fear of commitments, fear of learning something new, fear of collaboration, and this could have you trying again. Especially like if it's in a workplace. You're not going to let nobody fuck up your money just because you don't match them on a friendship level. Now, I know you can find friends at work, but is that really what you're going there for? You know what I'm saying? Like, so again, if this, because the Three of Pentacles is about collaboration, teamwork, money, finances, you know, and that can be a job setting. All right. But you can take your emotions out of it. Like, you can always try again. Like, again, maybe you try to include yourself in unnecessary gossip, right? Want to know things that didn't really pertain or concern you because you wanted to feel like you was a part of the team, the environment in which you were circulating with. But that's not what your goal was. Your goal was to build healthier relationships. But how the fuck can you build a healthy foundation on unhealthy practices? Does that make any sense? Absolutely not. So you can try again, but you can try again in a new way. And you can start reflecting certain principles that, you know, you should have started with from the beginning. And if people still see you in the other way, then let them see you that way. It's not for you to try to convince people of your awakening, your change, your wisdom, your inner truth, which you're seeking. Is not for them to see it. It's for you. But it's for you to acknowledge your bad behavior and how to step away from it and regain something for yourself. Win-win. Okay? We have the Five of Cups. So when you do this, you're going to be lonely as fuck. It's going to make you sad because maybe nobody's going to follow you. Yeah, the Page of Wands, you're doing this independently by yourself. It's too new. It's like people are going to watch you, but they're not going to join you because it's like you against everybody else. And I'm laughing at this because you shouldn't give a fuck. You shouldn't. Okay? I feel like, you know, this is how you might feel because, of course, you want people to see you differently and fuck with you differently, but sometimes people get intimidated by people working on themselves. And that is not your problem. Okay? It's not your problem. It's funny because you can have a boss, right? And you know the boss is a big ass gossiper because you know the boss always want to fit in with everybody else because nobody really likes the boss, right? Nobody really likes the boss. So the boss be trying to fit in and be this gossiping Betty or whatever, and then when it's a public meeting and it's time to pull shit out on the table, because that's what they say the meetings are for, when you finally pull shit out on the table, then here you go with this boss saying no, we can do this privately, this is not the platform for it, you know, we're not here to publicly shame anybody. They want to come out looking like they don't fucking gossip to fit in. You know what I'm saying? They want to come out being the Nine of Pentacles when they really aren't. All right. When you recognize the clown, you don't have to join the circus. Okay, period. And everybody recognizes the clown. And again, if it's like a boss figure that is being the clown, it's either you're going to say what you gotta say or you're going to surrender it to God. But don't gossip about the boss to the other people who gossip, because the other people who gossip, who wants to be the boss's friend or who wants to have some sort of accolade for the boss to see them as a loyal servant, they will throw you fucking under the bus immediately. So just don't say nothing bad about the boss. Just keep it all to yourself. Everybody else can talk about the boss all badly. Maybe they built different kind of relationships than you. Maybe you already came in strong and righteous, and maybe you are a threat to the boss and you may not even know it, because the boss like to put on a mask. So just watch yourself. I don't know what situations you found yourself in when it came to being a part of the crew with gossip and shit like that. We have the Ace of Swords. You're clear on this. Yeah. You know that you have to discipline yourself to step away from the conversations that keep you trapped. All right. And it's something for you to step into a place of success, breakthroughs, new breakthroughs. It will cause new conflict. Okay, because like I said, some people will think that, you don't have the right to do this. Like, who are you? You don't have to answer to nobody. You don't got to explain yourself to anybody either. Just go in with a new skin. Shed like the snake you are, huh? I am so fucking silly. Anywho, just shed your skin, baby, okay? And just look at things more clearly. All right? We have the Three of Cups. So with you withdrawing and moving away from what no longer serves you, and you're recovering and you're finding some sort of wisdom and you're seeking some sort of inner truth, it's like your spirit guides are very, very fucking excited. They're so excited that you're doing this. They're so excited that you're freeing them, that you're breaking some sort of curse that has been going on for a lifetime. This is time for you to feel happy about taking the steps for your own recovery. Okay? Only an addict can admit that they're an addict, and only an addict can say, I need help. And only the addict can seek the help in the assistance that they require. But you can't tell the addict that you need help and that you need to go and seek help. Because the addict is then going to look at you like, bitch, you need help too. Who is you to tell me that I need help? So even if you're helping yourself, it's still not, up to you to tell the addict what they may not be ready to admit to themselves as yet. We have the Knight of Cups in the upright. Hold on. We have the Knight of Cups in the upright. This is you following your heart's desire. You know, viewing things differently than you did before when it comes to connections and relationships and how you can possibly impact it. It is what it is. The women are the captains of the ship, okay? Men want to be the captains, but they not. Men follow us, you know, and however way we take them is the way that they'll follow. So I'm not putting the blame on you, because a man can also take the lead when they feel it's going downhill or going someplace else, you know. But if a man allows it to go downhill, that means that they're not a good leader, for you or for them. That you're going to be raising a child, okay? But I feel like because you could be experiencing new healthy emotions for yourself, that you're going to be calling in new healthy love. And whether it's self-love and just learning how to balance out your masculine and feminine energy from within, it's going to eventually transpire. Like, it's going to mirror you. It's going to come right back. All right. So for feminine energies, don't feel too hard on yourself if a relationship went downhill. Men are nitpickers. They naggers. They watch every little thing that you do. They like children, right? And whatever they can get into and contradict you of doing, it's like, well, you did it. You know? So it's sad, right? Yeah, I know. Maybe it's about the emotional fulfillment. Maybe you being a Prince Charming to yourself. I don't know. Or getting prepared for one to enter your life. They out here. Again, remember, you are the captain of the ship. You always are. They always going to watch you first. There's something about them needing to gain some sort of safety with you first. It's like a dog, okay? Sometimes you just can't, just because the dog is cute and is small, doesn't mean that it won't fucking bite you if you try to put your hand down to it and pet it. Did it invite you in yet? Like, don't be so impulsive, right? It's something about coming slowly, all right? And guiding the ship in the direction in which you want it to go in. Not being overly needy, not being too gossipy. You may need to learn how to even have conversations that don't require you speaking of some sort of betrayal or pain or hurt that you've gone through with other people. You may need to just talk about success and money. You know, try that. Try to exuberate love. In a healthy way. We have the Six of Swords, the Three of Pentacles, and the Eight of Cups in reverse. Trying one more time may not be an option. And that's fine. Releasing baggage, knowing your worth, knowing where you could have fucked up at, knowing what's good for you, taking whatever resources that you've gained from the situation and moving forward onto your next journey or onto your next task. Okay? This may look like avoidance because you're not trying to rebuild the connection. You rather just move on from it. Because you could realize, like, you know, it really is hard to change people's minds. Like, it's very hard to change how people view you, especially if they feel like they know you already. Especially when they don't believe in change. It's very hard to convince people. Not saying that's what you're going to be trying to do, but it's very hard for people to see you in a different light. It can be that one time, you know, that the first time I say no, it's like I never said yes. It's like that. They will always look at the time when you said no, when you did something that didn't agree with them. They will always look at that, and then they will always see you as that person. People are so very fixed. It's very hard for them to come up out of the victim mentality and the roles that they place themselves in to feel better about themselves. This can also be a behavior that you're escaping from, that you no longer want to revisit. You learn what you needed to learn. You might be packing light. You may not have that many people with you going. All right, but you're okay. You're still moving forward. Your back is turned. Whatever you learn from the situations, you take on to your next chapter, your next journey. As long as you have air in your lungs and you're breathing and you wake up every day, you can always change the narrative of your own story. And that's just one period. Be okay with admitting to your faults. Page of Swords. It's always a beginning. Be okay. Be okay with starting over. It's going to hurt. It's going to feel like failure. But there's always a new beginning. There can be doubt. Were you logical enough? Were you practical enough? Yes, you did. But now it's time for something new because you still have a thirst for knowledge. Once you put it on paper, now you want to keep tackling whatever you know have also hurt you, that hurt other people. What are those nasty ass behaviors that you have? When are you going to stop feeding them and start new? It's not naive. It's not dumb. It's just something that you have to do. Queen of Swords. You're going to grow from this. From the Page to the Queen, it's a beginning. It's a new beginning. This is about your independence and having clear boundaries. Being direct in your communication. If someone comes and asks you your opinion of someone else, especially if it's in like a negative way, you're going to know when to say, I don't approve of this conversation. And please keep me out of whatever this is. And that's it. You're going to learn that this is the better way to be. And it's not judgment. It's just boundaries. You can't come to me no longer with the bullshit. You can no longer trap me with the gossip. You can no longer do this. It's like you standing in the beautiful part of your healing. I don't want to read an energy card oracle, but I will do Embracing the Shadow. And then I will close out the reading. Because enough is enough.
Excuse me.
Breaking karmic cycles. Oh God, I love my cards. I do. I love the people who created the cards, who took time in their creations to help us and guide us on this journey, you know, whatever that is. It says, recognize repeating patterns and take an action to break generational wounds. This was everything that I was talking about the whole entire read. This is everything. Not to toot my own horn, but toot. You know, I'm just saying, I love it. I love when the cards are balanced with the channeled message. I love it. Because it just brings more confirmation to the reading. Okay? Yeah, but breaking karmic cycles. Recognize the repeating patterns. I say, write it down on a fucking piece of paper if you're a visual learner like me. You're going to see them things on the paper and you're going to say, oh shit. Did I do that? You better learn how to laugh at yourself and the behavior and fix it. It's not cute. We have Dark Night of the Soul. You are undergoing deep transformation. Trust that this darkness is leading to light. Darkness leading to light. Disappointment, loss, grief, karmic cycles, having to start all over, starting to begin a new energy, coming out of an old cycle, okay, of repeating toxic patterns. Yeah, it's gonna feel fucking horrible. It's gonna feel like you experience a life-altering illness or a near-death experience. It's not gonna be friendly. It's not gonna greet you with a smile and kisses and hugs. It's gonna be very detrimental, and that's maybe another reason why a lot of people kind of shy away from it as well. It's not very pleasant. You know, being a chosen one, it's not a very pleasant experience, but, you know, take the L's, okay? Everybody wants to be the chosen one, but nobody's really doing the work. They just, you know, wham, you know, just being big babies out here in these streets, you know. The real work is when you identify your fucked up ass patterns and you start changing them. Eventually, I'll stop cussing. But that time is not now. But it's on the list. Okay? It is. It's on the list. It's not very ladylike. But sometimes I don't want to be considered a lady. We have the perfectionism trap. Seeking flawlessness leads to self-sabotage. Embrace progress over perfection. Be easy with yourself. Start at a page level. It's okay. When it says try one more time, I do feel like, you know, you might make a mistake here and there, but fix it. You're not perfect. These are really hard cycles to break. They are. But with practice, it makes perfect. So just take your time. Take your time. Don't be hard on yourself. You've already been hard on yourself enough. Last one. Give us a good one. Even though they're all good. Surrender to change. I love this shit. I really do. I love this shit. My dog is just looking at me like, girl, you bugging. It says resistance creates suffering. Flow with transformation rather than against it. Flow, darling. Flow. Flow. But if it ain't your time to flow, then pick a poison. Gossiping might not ever be something that you can fix. Okay? Especially if your best gossiper is your mama, your sister, someone really close to you. It's probably gonna be really fucking hard to erase because, you know, you're around a bunch of gossiping buddies. So that might just be a part of your character. Claim it if it's yours. This is all I have for you. Namaste.